gotta talk about this one.
Oh boy, this is bad.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Dragon back at it again with another dumpster dive and Holy Ghost Pepper's sandwich. When I originally watched this show, I never understood what all the fan outrage was about as I was watching the episodes until I got a strange feeling that something out of place was happening in this show from episodes 5 through 8, and I regret to say that I was not able to react fast enough against the Netflix Nation surprise attack that was thrown in the last episode. However, I can now understand why the original creators of the show felt like they had to abandon this beloved project of theirs due to them having strong creative differences with the showrunner Albert Kim.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
We got lots to talk about.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished.
Now, I'm sure you guys have the burning question of, Dragon, is this adaptation even remotely average, unlike the other garbage adaptations that have come out recently? Well, to answer your question, Big Tony, it's a regular meh adaptation when compared to the Velma HBO show, the Rings of Power show, or the M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender movie, which were just plain god-awful.
That's concerning.
However, most people won't even notice this until they've watched at least half of the show, when all of a sudden the story framework goes completely bananas by trying to force fuse as many relevant parts of filler episodes and main plot episodes from the original show into one single episode. Yet the worst part about this is that they don't do this force fusing once or twice, but 3 times, in order to, I assume, make sure the overall duration of episodes 4 through 6 go over 50 minutes so that they can have a total of 8 episodes for the first season's release, which is quite an annoying Hollywood practice to do if it's true, because you're deliberately wasting your audience's time by doing unnecessary and confusing time padding that the only thing it will do is make people angry at you. I mean, you'd think they would have learned by now to stop doing this, but I guess that's not the case.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Now, as for the main plot of the story, so I'm not including the side story mess I just mentioned for now, I have to admit that this show did a pretty decent job in not trying to deviate too much from the original animation's plot in terms of the overall flow, since the producers of the show were trying really hard to make sure that the fan base wouldn't label them as lazy like M. Night Shyamalan. Regardless, I still do have a couple of pet peeves about how they went about it.
Oh, there he goes again.
First off, they use up to 21 minutes of the first episode's runtime to do a quick flashback introductory story to explain why Aang ends up being found by Sokka and Katara in a big ball of ice. In short, it's Fire Lord 100 years ago bad. He turned Fire Nation evil and tricked Earth Nation dunderheads into thinking he was going to attack them. But in reality, he took advantage of a fire comet that comes out around every 100 years to wipe out them airbending hippie nomads. And Aang got caught in a storm that triggered his avatar mode, so now he become the Icicle Man because he a big 12-year-old chicken that don't want to accept he's the avatar.
Yes, that is accurate.
Now, I unfortunately don't understand why they felt that we needed that much time in order to explain the backstory, but my assumption is that they didn't feel like explaining it in gradual pieces as the story progresses, like in the original animation show, because they wanted to establish a slightly deeper connection between Aang and his teacher Gyatso, so they could then use him as a side quest NPC for Aang to talk to, so they would have a story excuse for Aang to visit that Fire Nation temple in order to talk to Roku. Wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself here. To clarify a few things, the plot in episodes 1 through 4 progresses smoothly in the sense that the main story of season 1 of the animation covers all the way to the point where our three heroes leave the city of Omashu while being pursued by the Fire Nation hunting parties because they're on Earth Kingdom lands that are currently controlled by the Fire Nation, and we also get some little drippings of character background info on Zuko and Azula as well. However, the holes start to show when all of a sudden the trio encounter a village needing their help against a monster that's been terrorizing them, which is the panda forest spirit known as Haab. Well, things start to get weird really quickly when the trio go out into the forest to investigate the spirit's totem, and this happens all of a sudden.
A few moments later.
Katara?
What the hell is going on?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea why Sokka and Katara were thrown into the spirit world when at this time period only the Avatar could travel to and from this place. Why the the owl spirit from the library episode of season 2 of the animation was introduced so early on in the story in the spirit realm, or why they created a completely pointless side story with a co-character in order to give Aang and Gyatso more screen time, as I mentioned earlier, and instead use it as a way to showcase a very big flaw in this show, which is that the Avatar apparently cannot, I repeat, cannot communicate with his past lives for advice at all unless he meditates on the statue monument of whatever specific past avatar he wants to talk to.
What? What?
Right, so the producers made up a story to justify this BS by saying that Avatar Roku stole an idol of Ko's mother and that the spirit is very angry at him, but the only way this dude will not eat Sokka and Katara, because he captured them by the way, is if Aang finds and returns the stolen idol. Well, after sneaking around and being assisted by an Avatar loyalist firebender sage, I can finally show how this whole meditating at an Avatar statue thing was perceived by most people.
Well, we're waiting.
Aw, you gotta be kidding me.
Now, for some reason, Zuko wasn't the one who set up this trap for Aang. Instead, he gets captured by June, who then gives him up to Zuko and Iroh, but a few minutes later, Zhao finds them and mugs Aang from them, which now means that this fabricated side story by the producers just now merged with the main plot story in a weird way, because this is when Zhao is supposed to capture Aang, so that means that Sokka and Katara are still stuck and screwed in the spirit world for the foreseeable future.
I'm in danger!
Help me! Help me! Nigga! Help me!
However, Zuko, disguised as Ninja Gaiden, decides to break inside the fortress where Aang is imprisoned and helps him escape this messy plot fusion conundrum until he almost gets killed via a shot in the head, but his trusty mask saves him from certain death, and now Aang has to save Zuko on top of everything else that's on his plate. But don't worry guys, because they both successfully escape alive, and we even see some more backstory on the origin of Zuko's eye scar, and where his obsession of finding the Avatar began, just to further time pad this already time-padded episode.
Are you serious right now?
Oh yeah, Aang had to put Zuko to sleep a couple of times because the dude would constantly get up and try to attack him out of instinct, but finally he was able to safely put Zuko in a boat so that his uncle Iroh could find him. Also, yes everyone, Sokka and Katara were eventually rescued by Aang from their getting their spirits eaten alive by Ko situation after Aang returns the spirit's idol toy back to him, okay? The producers aren't so insane as to kill them off for and giggles, though I wouldn't put it past them if they had more control than what they already have over the show. Anyways, the last 2 episodes cover the last 3 episodes of the animation, and they play out mostly how you would expect the end of the first season's plot to end. But I'm sure you guys are asking yourselves a lot of concerning questions since I mentioned this, and that is, Dragon, why did Zhao stab the moon spirit like in the M. Night Shyamalan movie if they weren't trying to be compared by that standard? Also, didn't he kill the spirit in the animation by just firebending it to death with a karate chop? Furthermore, why did they say that the moon and ocean spirits only become mortal for a single night every year when the animation clearly explained that both spirits gave up their immortality to become mortal forever in the physical plane in order to maintain the balance of the world.
And spirit worlds grow thin on this night. I needed an edge.
Well, again, Big Tony, the short answer for all those questions is simply that they just felt like adding in all that extra stuff for no reason other than to further time pad the last episode to be 45 minutes long and to create some further dramatic tension in the plot, even though there was already enough of that in the original animation's main story plot. So yeah.
This is a fucking mess, son.
You don't say. Huh?
Well, after all of that happens, Aang turns into Oceanzilla and just starts destroying the Fire Nation army until Princess Yue sacrifices herself to restore the moon spirits since she was once saved by it long ago, and then our merry trio leaves the wrecked Northern Water Tribe stronghold in order to get ready for Season 2, which I'm kind of dreading it because I'm going to have to watch hours of this Azula talking.
Omashu is ours! So, what's next?
Okay, so as for the show's rating, it's a 5 out of 10, and it's not as bad as the M. Night Shyamalan movie, but unfortunately it's not better by leaps and bounds, which is what we expected it to be. It's somewhere in the middle for now if we are just going by the first season, and the reason for it is as follows. Number 1. Half the acting came off as forced/overacted or even flat when the actors spoke their lines throughout the show. It felt like they went off of what they were told by the production or directors on set on what their characters are all about, rather than do some further research and use their more experienced actors' cues in order to pull off their character roles more efficiently. Number 2. Some of the casting done for certain characters in the show felt like the casting director either completely missed or hit the mark on multiple occasions, so I'll just do a quick roll call. Kenneth Long as Zhao. I know that he is an experienced actor by his own right, and that many people remember him for being one of the villains of Rush Hour 1, but they should have casted someone that could pull off sounding like a very devious snake in a human body, rather than what we ended up getting in the show.
It appears I've been promoted to Admiral. My request is now in order.
Goosebumps!
Exhibit A.
We will celebrate! We will praise the glory of the Fire Nation!
Nigga, what the f***?
Moving on, Azula's casting was not very well thought out. Every time I hear this actress speak, I find it very hard to convince myself that this is a person who Iroh in the animation labeled as a bloodthirsty, psychotic woman. I may sound mean, but Netflix, y'all gotta stop casting people with barely any acting experience playing as a main character role when you're making new adaptations of big IPs. It's making you look completely incompetent, and you're either ruining or making a young actor's careers harder than they have to be.
Shame on you!
On a side note, Arden Cho as June, Yvonne Chapman as Avatar Kyoshi, Maria Zhang as Suki, and Paul Sung-hyun Lee as the live-action Iroh were all very well thought out choices in my opinion. They obviously either enjoyed watching the original animation or respected enough to try their hardest to portray the characters in the best way possible without tarnishing the fan base's memory of them in the live-action version. However, Sokka is a tough one. I didn't like the fact that they took away many of his childish, sexist jokes since they provide comedic relief, but also become part of his growth as a character as he goes from being a teenager to an exceptional adult warrior. Otherwise, he comes off as being too serious in a time when he still wasn't ready to be serious, you know what I mean? So I would give him till season 2 to cook to see if his character improves. As for Aang, Katara, Zuko, and Firelord Ozai, they act like how their animation counterparts acted during the first season, so again, we'll have to wait for season 2 to come out to verify if the acting was truly flat/forced or if it was done properly.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The bending, visual effects, and the costumes in the show were way better designed with attention to detail so as to evoke nostalgia in viewers who watched the animation. But as I always say, visuals combined with bad plot design will not change the fact that people will still not like your show because you improperly adapted the original IP story. Case in point, just look at the M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender movie's Rotten Tomatoes score rating.
Damn!
Like I said earlier, trying to merge and slightly change element of an already good story simply because you want to self-insert your ego into a project never turns out well for anyone. Anyways guys, that was it for me and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please stay on the lookout for my upcoming American Society of Magical Negroes movie review and please stick around for a couple more seconds for another fun video review / playlist recommendation from my channel or go to the comments to let me know how you felt about this show. Other than that friends, have a wonderful day and namarie.
And now for something completely different.
What are stories but mystery boxes? There's a...
What a load of shit.
You wanna play games? Okay. I'll play with you.
Say hello to my little friend! Damn!
Oh no, I ain't messing with you. Oh no.
Until next time, I'm a British person. Good night.
What? You want more?
It's okay. We know.